less than a couple of weeks ago, I was watching a show and I was a little bit annoyed about this guy that was rich and intellectual and always dressed up. He was trying to adjust his tie in the car and it wasn't going well, and this woman was trying to help him. And it just kind of annoyed me because it seemed incongruent with the rest of the character and the rest of the story. So I decided to just check out different knot types. I always use a really basic one myself when I'm doing events or weddings or anything like that. And I found that there's a whole big thing behind knots. There's hundreds of different kinds of knots. I found the book 85 Ways to Tie a Tie, which was a scientific mathematical take on trying to figure out all the possible ways to tie a tie, and the 13 most common ones that are used. I went through those, kind of found the ones that I wanted, and realized that for most normal ties, there's a set of basic movements that you can do, and that all the ties were shooting for being symmetrical. But I should be able to invent my own by going a little asymmetrical, a little different. And I've had some asymmetrical clothing before that looked good, and I like some shirts that came across the front in different ways, and so I thought it was worth a try. So I spent 5 hours trying to invent a knot, and I came up with what I call the Jeffrey knot and wrote an article on it on jeffthinks.com. Some people obviously I thought it was cool. They saw the picture of it and they thought it was interesting, and they weren't sure exactly how to make it. I describe it in there and I give the notation and the description and everything, but I thought I would just make a simple little video. So this is basic tie, big end, small end. This is my left, so I got the small end on my left. And you want to leave quite a bit of difference in the length of your tie. Cross the large side over, like you do in a lot of normal ties, and come up through the center. And I didn't wear a collar, so that's not in the way, but I still do have a beard that blocks view a little bit. And come out to the right with the front part of the tie facing forward. And then this side, you're going to go around once. And the same side, you're going to go around again, so twice. And the same side, you're going to go around 3 times. And that oddity of being asymmetrical like that is what allowed me to come up with something different, because in all the mathematical formulas for trying to figure out ties and this type of thing, that idea of going around the same side in the same spot 3 times really throws things off. It doesn't seem like you would end up with a symmetrical tie at the end. And so on that side, you want to make those decently firm, not overly tight, but decently firm, because they won't really adjust when you're tightening up the tie. Now you got short part hanging down, you got the wide part going out to the right here. You are going to cross in front from here. You're going to go across in the front. And this crossed part, that's where you're going to come back down through. So when you go up through, and you come down through that loop you just made when you crossed in front, and that's where you're going to tuck the tie through. All right, now the tie is going to look pretty crazy at first before it really starts to tighten up, because the sides are asymmetrical. So it's really just the one side tightening up. This side is just staying there. It's just your 3 loops that went around each other, and they're just gonna stay where they are. Those are not going to tighten. It's just going to be this side over here that really starts to tighten up with this triangle shape. So it comes out asymmetrical, but it largely brings itself to be pretty symmetrical, and it feels incredibly symmetrical when you're wearing it, which I like, which is really nice. And there are some unique things about it, like the center, for instance, is actually, there's nothing there. Because of the way it's made, there's a gap. You can stick your finger through the center. It's not solid. But I like the way it ended up looking, and then the small part is what allows you to adjust it up tighter to your neck and move it down. So that works fairly normal, like a normal tie, and it's got a unique asymmetric look while also being fairly symmetrical. So it's unique. That was the point of what I was trying to make. And then just depending on how big you made your loops over here is how much you want to tighten down this side or leave it loose to kind of match those three circles that you went around on this side. And so that is basically it. Let me take this out, and you can see the other side. All right, and you can see it makes a nice kind of almost flat triangle on the top there. And this is what the back looks like when you pull it out. So it rests nice and even from that side as well. So it's an interesting knot. I actually wore it on the weekend after I made it. I believe I made it on a Friday, and I wore it on Sunday to a church, and it went well. It worked well. It didn't come loose. It didn't tighten up too much, so it was very functional. And give it a shot. The Jeffrey knot. It's a unique, weird little creation that I did one day. It was a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool to have created a new necktie knot.